Making this video, not sure if this is just for my own good to make this video and get my thoughts out, or if I'm actually going to post it or anything, but just making my thoughts about what has transpired in the American elections in 2024. So, here we are, folks. I would like to say that, this is, a temporary bump in the road. This is just a minor, inconvenience. This is a that. This is a, because realistically, I'm a straight, white, cisgendered male with absolutely no visible deformities or illnesses available. I mean, outside of glasses, which, glasses hardly count as a deformity at this point in time in human history. So, I can walk down the street perfectly fine. No one will bother me. No one will care about me. No one's going to go and say, look at that man. That man's different. He's an other. Let's go stalk him. There's none of that I have to personally worry about. I have a passport. I have a brother in Tasmania who is dual citizen. I can very easily get a citizenship in Tasmania if I really need to. I'm also Italian, so that whole Italian law of, hey, if you had a great-great-great-grandfather, whatever, blah, 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 from this year, I can move to Italy as well if I really wanted to. I have multiple escape routes, just in case. I will be fine. My fiancé, not so much. Needs a lot of medical help, just for the sake of, just illnesses. Has been that way her entire life. And it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse with age. My fiancé will probably never be pregnant. Not because of choice, but just because pregnancy will kill her. And we've just elected someone who has on numerous occasions mentioned that, oh yeah, they're just going to gut all the regulation. Everything. Consumer product regulation, regulations for maintaining proper road safety, dismantle the funds for disaster relief, so if the next hurricane hits Florida, or an earthquake, or a volcano, or whatever, we're just going to get rid of it. We're also going to gut health care. Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, are going to be gone as well. Any sort of form of assistance that you might need. And it's not a matter of, if you need them. It's going to be a matter of when. Everyone at some point in time in their life will lose a job. Everyone at some point in time of their life will have an accident or injury that, puts them on the shelf for X number of months or years. It's not a matter of if something happens to you, it's a matter of when. And we've gone and said, nope, we want to just get rid of all that. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he said this numerous times over and over and over again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if randomly, instead of answering questions, he will just start vibing out to music for an hour. It doesn't matter if, after 10 years of having a plan, or 10 years to come up with a plan, when asked about what his plan is, he goes, yeah, we've got, we've got an inkling of an idea of a possible plan. So you have nothing. Doesn't matter. This is not the first time that we have elected an incompetent imbecile who has no reason to be running a company, let alone the world. It's not the first time we've done that. It won't be the last. So, my takeaways from this election are as follows. It doesn't matter what you are. No, really. You can go out, light yourself on fire. Doesn't matter. You can go out to a convention, take out a machine gun, mow down every single one of your constituents. Right there, live in public. No one cares. What matters is that little magical number next to your name. Oh, sorry, letter. Little magical letter next to your name. People will just vote for the magic R. That's it. That's all that matters. Trump ran pretty much the worst campaign possible. And it showed as his numbers kept dwindling less and less and less at every single rally. Voter enthusiasm was not there. But those people voted anyway, because that was their team. That was their sport. That's what they got. 96% of Republicans voted for Trump in the previous election. And after everything that happened, after women's rights got taken away, after, all the scandals and controversies, after not giving back classified documents, after, encouraging people to, raid the Capitol, after, let's see here, what else was there? After all the indictments, after, there was another big one I'm missing. Oh, that's right. After literally being with Epstein and bragging about it at campaigns, going, oh, Epstein likes him young, and all the news coming out about how, him and Epstein would, fight over the, 13-year-old girl that they were screwing with. None of that matters. No one cared. What mattered was that little magical R next to the name. That's it. All those people that were undecided voters, they were never undecided. What they were was, I'm voting for Trump, but I don't want to say I'm voting for Trump, because Trump is embarrassing. That's it. That's all it is. There was no such thing as an unlikely or undecided voter. There wasn't. They made up their mind, they just didn't want to tell you what it was. After all that, 96% of Republicans still voted for Trump. No change. Not a single change. At this point in time, can we admit that trying to appeal to Republicans on, their better half isn't going to work? Kamala Harris campaigned with Liz Cheney. Is anyone going to say that Liz Cheney, or any of the Cheneys, is anyone going to say that any of the Cheneys are communist socialists or anything like that? No, they're Republican diehard through and through. Harris did nothing but, try and reach out and go and say, hey, Republicans, I'm not going to do anything unusual, I'm not going to take away your guns, I'm not going to take away this, I'm not going to take away that, I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm essentially going to be a Republican. Republicans didn't vote for her. They never did, they never would, and I bet you for whatever reason the Democratic Party is going to take a look at this and go, wow, maybe we should try to appeal to Republicans more. Because that's their only solution. When they win, hey, we won because we appealed to Republicans. Hey, when they lose, we lost because we need to appeal more to Republicans. When they tie, hey, we need to appeal to Republicans. That's their only motive. And yet data, time after time after time, keeps showing the Republicans aren't voting for you. They never have and they never will. So, Democratic Party is stupid. Republican Party is, also stupid. Worse, but still stupid. Definitely worse. But the stupidest people of all, just in general, the American population. Hi, Frankie. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, I know, you're such a good boy. So, as I mentioned, this is not the first time we've elected an imbecile. This will not be the last time we've elected an imbecile. For whatever reason, you didn't vote for Harris, or whatever reason you voted for Trump, whatever reason it was, I have a very simple question. What exactly do you think is going to change now? People who were dissatisfied with inflation. Okay, Trump's elected. Are eggs now going to be 99 cents a carton again? Trump got elected. Is gas going back to 89 cents a gallon? I grew up in the 90s. Heck, I remember when it was 75 cents a gallon. Is gas going to go back to that price? No. No politician, Democrat, Republican, Independent, no one is going to be able to control pricing like that. That's not how the world works. Yet we are stuck in a holding pattern where, hey, prices suck, let's vote the other guys in. And then 4 years from now, you know what's going to happen? Prices are still going to suck. And then, we'll vote the different team in. And then 4 years after that, hey, prices still suck. Let's vote the other guys back in again. Hey, 4 years later after that, prices still suck. Let's vote those guys back again instead. Keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Assuming there's still elections that far into the future, because the Supreme Court decided that when the president does an official act, it can't be prosecuted. And immediately everyone's hand goes up and has a question. What's an official act? If President number blah, 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 blah in the future goes and decides, hey, you know what? I've decided that as an official usage of my executive privilege, I'm going to make a law. Because, how many things actually get Senate and the House and the Senate to actually pass it? Not often. There's executive action, executive action, executive action all the time. So how about as an executive action, I've declared myself president for life. There's no elections. I'm president until I die. Oh, by the way, I now have a new executive action. When I die, my son is now in power. Okay, well, no one's tried it yet, but by the definition you just created, is that not an official action? So, we're going to ping pong back and forth, because until something like that happens, because the actual problem has not been solved, and has not been solved for like 50 some odd years. Actually, even going further back than that. This can date all the way back to the 70s, or if you want to even date it back further, you can date this back to like 1860s, whatever. Point being, the people in charge are still in charge. The problems of you getting paid less than you're worth, the problem of you being worked more hours than what you have the capacity for is still there. The problem that things are getting more expensive is still there. The problem that, your value as a buyer is going down is still there. The problem that housing and cars and all that are more expensive and being gobbled up by multinational conglomerates is still there, and leaving nothing for you is still there. The problem that billionaires have decided to just buy all the newspapers and media outlets and put their thumb on the scale is still there. Absolutely nothing has changed. Inflation has existed forever. Inflation will continue to exist forever. Anyone who was, maybe upset, going like, oh man, as a male in America, I used to be up here and now I'm down here. You're still down there. All those people that don't want to sleep with you because you're not financially dependent, or you're not whatever. Now that Trump got elected, are they magically going to just spread open their legs and jump on a bed for you? No. They're still not going to. It's still just as expensive to own a kid. It's still just as expensive to own a house. Still just as expensive to own a car. Still just as expensive to own anything, and it's only going to get higher. You forget, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we were still complaining about inflation. And that was under the Trump era. Inflation doesn't go away. So, we have the world at our fingertips. We have more power in our phones than it took to put a man on the moon. And instead of using that knowledge and using that information for anything of value, we do this. We instead, we instead do this. I mean, here's a result. Now, I don't even live in California, but California Proposition 6 prohibits slavery and involuntary servitude. Slavery. This proposed amendment to California's Constitution would bar slavery in any form and repeal a current provision allowing involuntary servitude as a punishment for a crime. Basically, if you are going to be doing work, you have to get paid for it. The vote to repeal slavery, 54.9% no. And that's in California. The American people, the voters, said, I'm fine with slavery. The problem isn't, Democrat or Republican. The problem at this point in time is just the American populace is stupid. The American populace is ignorant. The American population does not care. They don't care about, anyone's rights. Like I said, my fiance could, if my fiance ever gets pregnant, she could bleed out and just die because pregnancy is harmful to her. That sort of stuff has already happened. It already has. People die from that sort of thing. They can go into sepsis. They can have a pregnancy that just goes bad. They can want the child. They can totally always really, really want the child. And they can still die. And you don't care. You don't care because it didn't happen to you. Instead, you're going, well, yeah, maybe some people will lose their rights. Yeah, maybe some people will die. Yeah, maybe someone might in the future enact themselves and make them a king. Due to, whatever. Yeah, maybe Brown versus the Board of Education might go away. Yeah, maybe all these other things that are happening. Oh yeah, by the way, clean air pollution. Yeah, good luck with that with the EPA going around. Hey, bridges collapsing or any sort of road management. Good luck with that with the Department of Transportation gutted. Hey, hurricane relief disaster. Yeah, good luck with that with FEMA gutted. Yeah. You're fine with all that. Just as long as maybe I can spend a little less money on eggs. Which isn't going to happen to begin with. The problem is us. We are a nation of entitled, greedy, gutless swine. That's us. That's us in a nutshell. We had a false high after World War II because literally every other place in the world was bombed. Any industrial center blew up in the middle of 2 wars back to back. We were the only option. We're no longer the only option in the world. Europe doesn't have to use American industries. They have their own. Africa is building their own industries. China is building a bunch of their industries in Africa. And then going, oh, by the way, we know you can't pay this back, so, in 20 years' time, it'll belong to us, and this will officially be Chinese soil. The era of America being the only dominant power in the world is over. And it's not coming back unless World War III happens and everything gets nuked to shit. Because we're got two oceans on the side of us, it's kind of hard to hit us. But that's really the only outcome where American dominance comes back into the forefront. It's going to be a slow, gradual decline, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. We are just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic at this point. And we have to come to understand that the future, whether or not we have children or not, the future is going to be shared. It's not going to be America dominating the entire thing. And that scares a lot of people because we're used to being the only important person in the room. Like I said, we're used to being greedy, selfish, and all other sorts of things. And we as a society can't handle the fact that other people are catching up. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Dogs are barking outside, I better let them in. Have fun, everyone. Good luck, stay safe. The world burns down. Here's a record of my thoughts.